Hi, I'm Gabby. So I'm remodeling, well, not remodeling, reorganizing my art wardrobe. If you see a lot of things right now, that's because I'm working on a different video for a different project. Ooh, and I forgot to film my art wardrobe how it looked before I took everything out. So you will just skip to the part where everything is empty. So yeah, intro song. Alright, here it is. My art wardrobe is completely empty. I took everything out, including the stuff on my art table, and I put it all on my floor. So it's not much, but it's enough. So I'm just gonna take. Well, I'm gonna keep those there, so I'm not gonna bother. But I'm gonna take a census. But I'm gonna organize this and leave those out too. Those are way too big. And try to somewhat organized. I'm a firm believer of, what was I a believer of again? Messy organization, whatever you call it. As long as you know where everything is, right? So this is me organizing to figure out where everything is and what I have. However, the question remains, how do I do this? Okay, so pretty much I started with the papers. I started counting them and categorizing them, and this one took the longest because also this was the biggest of all the sections. I had the most in this section. Guess how many papers I have, and well, other things, drawing on materials. Just take a wild guess. I'll post up the number later. But most of the papers, most of the counting come from pretty much loose papers. That's where, because I had to count each paper individually. Some of those papers are very loose. Some of them are part of a board, or like when you have, because I had was college, these big pieces of boards, and so like, as I said, like canvases I count individually. Things like the wooden board, I count individually. Those loose newsprint papers I had to count individually, and that used to be part of a giant piece of pad, but those pads got loose, or I had them for a very long time. I didn't count all the papers in this one. I just show that I just count as one because it's in one bundle. But the ones that don't have like in one bundle, like that one, those are watercolor papers, which I didn't know I had, but were just loose. That was part of a pad, and now I don't have the pad anymore, but just had those papers laying around. So I had to count those individually, each one by one. And then I also have folders that I was just adding to the mix, because, well, I didn't want to keep them separately. So, yeah. I finally rearranged it. It still looks similar to what I did last time, but it's less paper up here. But it's still been because of before, because I put too much weight before. But anyhow, it looks much better, and I put majority of the paper down here that's new or barely used. I just put it down here, so less paper up here. And keep the ones I'm mostly using in, mostly using or partially using up top. So much better. So then I move on to the paints. Anything that relates to paints too, I will deal with it later, but mostly just concentrating on the paints, my oils, my acrylics, and whatever is in that bin right there that you'll see soon, and in the bags. I separated based on, well, what it is, like medium, acrylics, oils. That's watercolor oils, so water mixable oils. And then I separate those oils and mixtures and mediums based on their brand. Like all the Blick brands, all the Utrecht brands. I didn't even know I had a Utrecht paint until just now. Apparently I have Utrecht paint still. I have more stories about that later. Okay, so this is all the oils and mediums and stuff. Not much have changed. I did what I kept. I kept the oils in the oils, and I kept the turpentine and gesso out. But I decided I really wanted to keep most of the mediums in and squeeze in all of my what's the oil? But yeah, it is oil. Water mixable oils, acrylics, and whatever else is still in here, all in here. So yeah, that's the only big change. Is it warping? Is it warping? Not warping. Warping. But yeah, so still have much more to go. but it's like so much small stuff all around, and most of them relates to painting ish, kind of, because I empty out my painting container, so now it's just scattered all over my floor. So I mean, this is okay. This is at the corner, so I just want to move this, just this, and get them out of the way. Okay, so I think that's it for like this section. I still have room to fill this section, and I fill out the top, very top in the middle, which is where I had all the markers, gouache, and everything in there. A lot more organizing to do. Still have a lot more to go. So yeah, I still have a lot more to go. This is tools, equipment, bags, pencils, other drawing things I use to help me with my drawing, tools, whatever. Inks, markers, watercolor, and so on and so forth. All of them probably won't fit. I'll probably still put some back right on my desk, but I want to get most of my stuff in there, in my wardrobe, and figure out how much stuff I have. Okay, so the next thing I decided to tackle was some of the equipments that I have. The big ones, like my camera, a projector, and my light bulbs, because I need to put those away because they're big. Then I handle all my markers because they seem to be the easiest to count. I don't know why my palette is there, but my palette is there, but I didn't include it in the count. Whatever markers I had that was loose or extra, anywhere I decided to put it all together and count them. Just the markers. So yeah. And they were pretty easy to count and put away, as I said. But I had enough section, enough room for my other stuff, which you will see in a moment. I'm just drinking tea and I was almost done, so I decided to do my watercolors and gouache. Anything that counts as a watercolor or gouache, I put in there. This is just gathering it all up. And then I had to, because I forgot to include it right there in that set, also the watercolors that was in those two art sets. So then I separated all my watercolors and gouache by, well, first, which one's watercolor, which one's gouache, and I separated again by brands, just like before, just to get an idea of what I have. I have a lot of I didn't realize until now, I have a lot of things from Daler and Rowney and Winsor Newton, and now Utrecht. I really didn't realize I had a paint from Utrecht, acrylic paint from Utrecht till now. But I have a lot of stuff from those brands. You will see later, I even have pencils from Utrecht. I mean, Daler Rowney pencils, no, charcoal. A Daler Rowney charcoal and Winsor Newton charcoal too. These are now all my inks. My watercolor inks, my acrylic inks, and also pens. Those are the next section I counted. And I separated all my inks, pens, so on and so forth. Well, not my pens, all my inks between watercolor inks and acrylic inks. Anything I consider a watercolor ink, and anything I consider a acrylic ink, I separated them. And then I also separated again by brand. This is it, to get a more close-up look at the separation. All that, and then it was very hard because there are some brands that will double, because I have some brands that I bought that was also both acrylic ink, but also they have also a brand in watercolor ink. So, no. Which was Daler and Rowney. Again, I have a lot from them. I don't know why. I didn't realize it until now. Until I did all this. But yeah, these are all my pens and any equipment also. Like the nibs and the dip pens. All that. I count all of that. And these are all my inks. And so on and so forth. And I put those and categorize those away too. Now there are two pens I did not count. Ooh, type of pens. Oops, there we go. These pens. I didn't count these pens. And any pen that's in here, didn't count them. So yeah. Okay, so the next section I did, this is the pencils and charcoals. Anything that I consider a pencil, watercolor pencil, color pencil, leads, mechanical, and well as charcoal and all those pastels that I have. I gather them and separate and get all of them, including the ones that in my art set, the only art set that had pencils in it, which was the Art 101. And I don't know about the graphic pencils, but their color pencils are pretty good. So, I said it before, I think in my Art 101 review, when I just did a swatching of all the colors. But yeah, so these are all of them. I didn't count. I think I didn't count the lead. I separated them, but then I decided not to count them later on. Same thing with erasers. I decided to put the same section as I put the erasers. But yeah, so these are all my leads and pencils and mechanical pencils and so on and so forth, and watercolor pencils. Yep. And that's all of it. So yeah, I also have a U-Trek. I have a lot of U-Trek too, but I didn't realize how much U-Trek I have until like later. But then I made a story about my art with art stores, so you'll see later. Not counting that. So I forgot to add in the grouping the color pencils, but I will separate those later. But there's a lot to separate. Some of them are already separated, like the ones in this bag, and these are all Prisma. So, yep. But the rest of them I gotta go through. Okay, still working through the pencils, but most of them is gone right now. So yay! This is going quicker because I know how to record the colors. But anyhow, this shelf is done. Not much change. I just put the wash and watercolors more together, and the inks are more together. The pen and pencils are still mixed. In that box, that black box that I showed earlier, much earlier, I think. I don't remember when. But yeah, so I'm keeping mostly everything relatively the same. Just switching some things, putting some of my materials in a box. I switched out this area. I put this so I could easily take this out. I don't have to put on top papers and mess up the paper, so glad for that part. So I still have one more shelf to fill, and I'm pretty sure the pencils going there and all the other miscellaneous items. Okay, this is me just counting the color pencils because I forgot to count them. I'm gonna put them on top instead. There's more room on the bottom. So, and this is also the rest of the miscellaneous items and erasers and all the other stuff. I just had to go through them. I separated them first to see what I have. My rulers, my glue, my clips, my cups, my portfolio stuff, plastic covers, bags. I also have clay in that bag, by the way. I also counted that. I didn't realize it. I almost forgot about the clay. But yeah, so after counting and seeing how much I have and what I have of, I decided to separate it and put those in, like, also like store it in better so I know where it is and I could easily find them. Here we go, it's all done. Nothing on the floor. It's mostly clean up, clear floor. Everything's put away. Finally, the reveal. Ta-da! Nicely, ooh, is it focusing? Nicely organized wardrobe, filled, and everything is mostly fit in here. There are some things exception. Okay, no, I'm just gonna stick with that. I'm not even gonna try it again. All my miscellaneous objects and stuff, papers I'm mostly using in folders, paints and markers and other wet mediums, acrylics and oils and all the stuff that goes along with that. Well, not all, not the brushes. The brushes I put on top, and palettes. And then all the papers I'm not using in some of my big equipment except for my laptop because can't fit. And also I use that often along with my tripod and this camera. I realized I forgot I don't have no space to put this camera. But my other cameras aren't here. But anyway, that's it for today. Isn't it nice and lovely and beautiful? I could just sit here and I'm very happy with how well organized this looks. Nope. Yep, just here. Just how well organized, perfectly organized person. More or less. So yeah, I usually don't keep things organized, and the reason I did this was because it's just a pain in the butt after buying new things. I just do things in here, and it became a pain in the butt to take things in and out. So you know. So yeah, thank you for watching. Till next time, laters.